Hello and welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. And today I have a very special topic, and that is related to pretty much all the gin videos I do, because the topic today is tonic. Let me go back to where tonic comes from before we start. Tonic is related to chinin, or I'm not quite sure how that is in English, but it's a substance that is very, very, very bitter. And that is a repellent for the mosquitoes that carry the malaria. The malaria flu. And is it a flu? I'm not quite sure. And so back in the days, people mixed that in water, drank it, and then they were not impossible to get malaria, but less likely to get it. So that's pretty much what all the British people did in India to not get it. But it was very unpleasant to drink it. So they had a lot of that bitter stuff in it. And that meant they had to do something to make it more passable or more drinkable. So what they did, they added sugar, they carbonated it. I'm not quite sure when they did carbonate, but they did a lot of stuff, and that's kind of how the tonic was born. And when they had the tonic, they were even not satisfied with that, so they said, hey, come on, let's add some gin and just make it more drinkable. And it actually, the gin, the juniper within the gin and this bitter chinin, that actually pairs really, really well. So that's how the gin tonic was born. It's just a nice pairing of these two pillars of flavor, that bitterness and that like roundness. I'm not quite sure how to describe the juniper because it's such a unique flavor, I would say. And this is then the Indian tonic that we know today. We have, as a company, we have decided to side with another company that is called Mistelhain, which is kind of old German, or not quite sure if it's old or not. It's kind of the it's kind of an old forest, like magical a little bit. And that's what they're all about. And they supply us with a tonic that is not that Indian. So it's not really an Indian tonic. I'll come to that later. But the first question is, so how is actually a tonic made? And I think in Europe it's officially a fizzy drink, a carbonated, refreshing drink or something like that would be direct translation. So yes, it's basically, let me show the ingredients here. It's just basically water, sugar, artificial carbonation and acidity, like citrus acidity or something like that, make it more acidic. And then aroma. So that's basically every lemonade out there. It's water, sugar, and acidity and carbonation. And the aroma is then, okay, what's up with the aroma? And chinin, that's the last one. And then we have aroma. So how is the aroma produced? You can go to a big producer, you can get the aroma, like you can order different flavors and mix them in a special proportion together, and then have them get to the fizzy drink production and add it, just say how much sugar and how much carbonation you want, and then you have your tonic water. Here at Mistelhain, they actually didn't do that. They actually said, we want to produce something really good. So we want to control the process of the aroma. So what they did is they did their own aroma production. And they actually did an alcoholic distillation of the aroma. Not that unusual, but it's not that common either. So is there alcohol in it? And the answer is yes, 300 times less than in apple juice. So non-alcoholic. Whereas we know the distillation as of mashing, malting, mashing, fermentation, distillation. Here we have percolation and distillation. So percolation is what you know from old coffee machine, is when you just dribble some hot stuff over it and just let it, yeah, get through it. And yeah, that is how they actually produce the aroma, and that is then brought to the fizzy drinks production, and they then produce it to their specification, whereas they say a lot less shin in it, so a lot less bitter. Why do they actually do it? The idea behind that is that an Indian tonic was the original, and then there comes the gin and adds to the Indian tonic. But we have a lot of awesome gin out there, and it's called the gin and tonic, not the tonic and gin. So they actually want to produce something that adds to the gin. And they found that all these Indian tonics have way too much bitterness in them, so they reduced it. So these are a lot less bitter. They're still a lot more bitter than a lemonade, but they have less bitterness, so the aromas of a gin can actually pierce through a lot better. So that's really good for us, because we have like really good gins with a lot of complexity, subtle aromas in it, and they're not just killed by the Indian tonic, but the Mistelhain tonic just complements them. So that's what they're thinking about. And yeah, also they're adding a lot more carbonation to it, probably because they just want people to add less of their tonic to their gin, or be able to add less tonic to their gin, which you think, okay, they will go bankrupt pretty easily because their demand will be just less. They've just found out that with this combination, it's not as bitter, and people like to drink faster, so more sales. Yeah. So the first one is called Ambition, and Ambition is the one that is more easy. And if you can have a look in here, that's the trend, that's the signature, and that's the Ambition here. And here the Ambition, that's one that is more on a citrus character, and more of a refreshing character, a little bit sweet character, and that just adds a little bit to enhance, go into a tonic with bubbliness and a little bit of bitterness, but it's not overwhelming. So it's like the very light version. Works good with very light gins, so that's what they recommended. Light gins, not that much alcohol, not that spicy, not that many botanicals in there. So that's what they recommend for the Ambition. Oh, they really do have a lot of carbonation in there. So yeah, you realize it's pretty dry. You realize the bitterness. It's a tonic, but it's not as strong. You could down it like lemonade and just be left with a nice bitter aftertaste, bittersweet aftertaste. But if you have a real strong Indian tonic, that just you have to stop. It's just too overwhelmingly bitter, and that's what they're aiming for. Next one is their signature. Add a little bit less, otherwise it just explode of bubbles. So the next one is the signature. As you can see here, that's what it's all about. This one is the one that's spicy. So a little bit of a shortcut: signature, spicy, signature, spicy. So that's how I remember it. And when you even smell it, it has a nice smell. Usually when you smell on a tonic, that's just, oh yeah, sweet bubbly, no lemonade. This one really goes into a little bit of, I don't know, cinnamon, cardamom. Some of these little balls of spiciness. A lot more subtle, more oomph to it. So this is more for the stronger, intenser gins. Which is strange. Usually when you do food pairing, you have two like opposites, you bring them together and you have like two pillars in one drink that just complement each other. Here you have a complementing spiciness with spiciness, so it just enhances and yeah, it just breaks the gin into a drink with fizziness and into a mixed drink, and doesn't try to alter it that much. It doesn't try to bring another pillar of flavor in there, but just enhance the original gin a little bit. And with spiciness, if you have a spicy one, enhance it with spiciness. Have a nice spicy gin tonic. Yeah, the last one is the pink one, and yeah, it's exactly what you think about it. It's the one that has a lot of berries and really, really sweet. This is like the girly version. I'm not saying woman, but I say really stereotypical girly, high heels. I don't know what you call that in English. We have a special saying in German for that. You can just imagine I said something like that. And it's amazing how much raspberry and what is it? It's pretty much raspberry. Amazing how just a few grams of sugar can increase you that much. So it's really sugary, it's really sweet, a lot of berries in there, a lot of raspberries. And yeah, this is their answer to everything like exotic. You can just exotic pair it with a slow gin, with a lot of these new Western gins and flavored gins and all of that kind of stuff to just make it into a hip drink. So that's hip, trendy, trend. So that is going into that direction. But this is now looked at it from the product side. So you look from a gin side and you add these three products. But you can also take the approach of having a look from your side. So you have the product and you think, okay, this is the gin, I like it, and I would like it to be more. Have a look at the tonics. If you want it to be more refreshing, citrusy, a little bit sweet, then you go for the ambition. If you go into the signature, you get more spiciness, more robustness, more intensity, and that is their signature. And if you want to have something fizzy, girly, sweet berries, then you go for the trend. So you can either take the approach from the product, you can take the approach from yourself to find the tonic that matches your mood and style of your drink. Yeah. So this was a bit of a roundup of tonics. This is not complete. If you want to go more into gin tonic, there is tons more. First, you would have to talk about the gin. What kind of gin brand, what kind of type of gin do you use in your gin tonic? And there are a lot more tonics out there. You could use an Indian tonic to be more classical. You could have like a lot like with herbs, and then there are a lot of guys doing it with herbs. There are a lot of some of them doing it like with chili and cinnamon, and there's tons of stuff. You can do really lots with tonic, because tonic is like a gin except no juniper, a lot of botanicals, and made into a fizzy drink. That's basically it. And so there's so much variation. This just touches the sides where you say, okay, this is the side from someone who really likes gin. How can you add up and go a little bit, a small dive into the world of gin tonic and still be able to love your gin? Yeah, so that was it. Small dive into tonic. Yeah, and I will use them in the next gin tonic videos and hopefully have a nice look at what that is. Yeah, that was it. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.